Hello Argyrim, this is my feedback to your summary from last week. So let's begin. In the video, I think it's better to start with that phrase. In the video, the speaker, okay, you've done a good job, included the name of the speaker, the title of the video, claims that, very good use of reporting work, invention and innovation terms have different meanings. Okay, you tried to make it argumentative. The video itself is very descriptive, but you forced yourself to write an argumentative first sentence, which is very good. But I would say you can strengthen that a little bit. Claims that invention and innovation have different meanings. Sure, maybe something like, to make that a bit stronger, what can you say? Something like claims that there is an important distinction between invention and innovation, or claims that it is important for us to know the distinction between invention and innovation, right? So it strengthens it a little bit. It adds the importance of this is really a crucial difference, something like that. But overall, very good first sentence. He reports that invention is something new, like technological or scientific developments that not people can purchase. You mean that people cannot purchase? I'm not sure, but the word order here needs to change. He reports that invention is something new, like technological scientific developments that people cannot purchase. Okay, here I think it would be more clear if you rephrase that a little bit, because a lot of things can be something new without being an invention, right? So maybe you can say invention is a creation of a new idea, such as a technological or scientific development. You want to use the singular here, which is still not available on the market, something like that, right? So here you want to use the singular, not the plural. But overall, it's clear. The idea is clear what you're trying to say here. Another term, innovation, is a transformation invention into a product. Okay, here you need, this is quite ungrammatical. Innovation, on the other hand, you can just use a cohesive device. Or on the other hand, comma, innovation is an invention which has been transformed into a product or service that would sell to people and make profit, which is usually sold on the market for profit, right? Here you would need a passive that would be sold, because the product does not sell, the product is sold, right? And again, the product does not make profit. The person who sells that makes the profit. So you can make that passive. And here you could just rephrase it and say for profit, or is commercially available, or is widely available on the commercial market for profit, or something like that. But again, the idea is clear here, the supporting idea, and it's an important idea, and you've done a good job to include it. Then he shows particular examples to understand where the innovation or innovation are. What do you mean where they are? You can just say to make a distinction. Like you can rephrase this, make it sound a little bit more academic. Where they are suggests that they're hidden in a place and we have to find them. We just want to say maybe to understand the difference between the two terms, or something like that. By this, he reports that, okay, first of all, this verb, it's a good verb, but you probably want to say something like he demonstrates that. That's a better reporting verb. The verb report has a very specific meaning. It usually means journalists report from the scene of action. For instance, they go and they cover, I don't know, something that happened, and they report from that site, from the scene of action. So reports here is not really very suitable. He demonstrates in this way, and first of all, this comma, you have an independent clause here, and then another independent clause here, and they are connected with a comma. This is not really grammatical. So here, this is what you will call a comma splice. You want to either put a full stop or a semicolon, because in English these are independent clauses. They can stand on their own. They can become a full sentence on their own, and they cannot be connected just with a comma. So put a full stop or a semicolon and you're fine. In this way, he demonstrates that to have economic impact, there should be several products to analyze that can be applied or not. Okay, here I got lost. Up to here it was very good. And then there should be several products to analyze that can be applied or not. I'm not sure what this means. But I get the idea that in order for it to have an impact, there should be several products, and then how would you end the sentence? So I definitely need to rephrase this. It's not very clear. That can be applied or not. I'm not very sure what this is talking about. Therefore, he argues that innovation has a lot of varieties which might be similar in the economic field. Yeah, I've seen the video and I know what you're saying here, but for somebody who hasn't seen the video, it will be difficult to understand what this idea is. But it's an important idea, so it's a good thing that you try to include it. But again, you want to make it clear to somebody who make this very clear, right? To somebody who hasn't watched the video, so they can understand what this is talking about. In other words, innovation is sometimes when you introduce a new functionality of a product, of an existing product, and this results in a lot of variety on the commercial market or something like that, right? That's what he's saying. But it's basically, so far here, it's a very well organized and logical paragraph. I would just say work on the phrasing. The rest is quite good, structured, and I can understand. So actually, what you chose to write about is very good. That's exactly what you should have done. So, good job. As a result, it causes dividing on classifications for better understanding. Yeah, okay. He was talking about that it's difficult, sure, but I don't think this is a very important supporting idea. What you might just say, you can just say, as a result, it is not always easy to distinguish between an invention and innovation. That would be more clear. So again, you want to make that a bit clearer. Just to rephrase it. Because really, dividing on classifications, yeah, I understand what you're saying. There's difficulty in the definitions, right? It's kind of difficult to classify. Is something an invention or innovation? But you just have to express that more clearly. Okay? So I would say rephrase here. Then he reports, yeah, you want to use more variety, right? Because you've already used that several times. Plus, as we said, it's not really, not for this summary. If we're talking about a journalist, sure, who reports from the scene of action, that's a good verb. Then he, just use another reporting verb. What will be a good verb here? Then he reports the idea that innovation can be without invention, because the invention is the first step for being normal, useful and appropriate innovation for the majority of people. Yeah, okay. Invention is a first step for being normal. Sounds very strange. Invention is the first step for being normal, useful and appropriate innovation for the majority of people. Yeah, I'm not sure what the idea is here. Innovation cannot be without invention. Yeah, of course. First comes the invention, and only then comes the innovation. Without an invention, there is no innovation, right? Invention is the first step in the creation of an innovation. But here, for being normal, it's just, yeah, the wording is a little bit odd. So I'm not sure what that means for being normal. Useful and appropriate innovation for the majority. So I guess you can say something like, in order for an invention to become a commercialized product, it has to pass through the stage of innovation until it reaches the wide public or a wide customer base or something like that, right? Now, when you write a summary like this, you can just Google, just because you need more specific phrasing, right? So you're talking about the process of something becoming an invention, and how from an invention, how it becomes an innovation, right? I would just Google that and read a little bit. I know it's very slow, but this is the way to write a really good academic sounding summary. So you kind of take a little bit of time, read a little bit on Google, and then you will pick up some really good phrases that you can use, right? So, for instance, widely available on the market, or in order to reach a wide customer base, or something like that. So you will see these phrases and terms, topic-specific vocabulary, which you can write down and then use them in your own summary. It's not going to be plagiarism, because you're not going to lift whole sentences and phrases. You're just going to write specific vocabulary, and then that will help you to express this idea more academically. Okay? But once again, you've chosen a good supporting idea to include. In conclusion, innovation cannot live without invention. Leave what? I'm not sure what that means. Cannot live without invention. This is just a bit unclear now. And invention can be an invention can be the invention only if this brings money. Yeah, okay, fine. Only if this brings money. Only if it is profitable, right? So here we want to use a more academic phrasing. Overall, I would say this is a good summary. Now, then he reports, then he shows, you've used those in conclusion, another term. So you've used a lot of cohesive devices. That's very good. You may want to use more variation here. Furthermore, another point Archiboogie brings or makes is blah blah blah, right? You want to use the speaker a little bit more. But overall, it's logical, and what you've done is quite good. So good work. Just work on the phrasing a little bit more. Okay, Girim, I hope this is helpful to you. Good luck.